Goku and Konoha were in serious trouble as they were being surrounded by their enemies. Enough is enough. You better leave me alone, Goku would say. Broly not only didn't stop but he was also totally out of his mind. He didn't react to Goku's words since Babbidi's control was too powerful. Goku would shout as his head exploded. Kia at the maximum. Goku would manage to free himself from Broly, and then would give him a strong kick in his stomach. Although the Titan would receive the attack fully, then he would grab him by the ankle and would begin to spin in circles to throw Goku far away. Goku would hit the ground strongly, then Broly would launch himself at him, but Goku would move to the side just in time, avoiding being crushed. Damn, that was close, Goku would say. On the other hand, Sama would launch himself at Konoha to catch her. Konoha would try to defend herself, but Zamasu's level was much bigger. Zamasu with great ease dodged each of his attacks. In a moment, Zamasu would kick Konoha several meters away, then he would throw a ki beam at her. Konoha would cross her arms to resist the impact, even so it would be too much power, so she would fall several meters away, being stunned. After that, Zamasu would arrive at her side. Remember that you can't kill her, though we need her alive, Babidi would say. I already have it clear. I don't need you to remind me, Zamasu would say. Konoha would try to stand up, but he was in no condition. Zamasu would prepare a K attack to leave her completely out of attack, but Eos would arrive with a flying kick, throwing Zamasu far away. What she is doing here, would say Babidi. Furious Eos would say, Goku realizing her presence, but in that distraction he would receive a punch from Broly. What are you doing here, would say Konoha, bewildered since she and Eos were not friends. It's very simple, I don't want you to die, or otherwise I will have to return to your charge, would say Eos. Rascal supposes that there shouldn't be another Kaishin of time, Babidi would say. This insolent one was the one who delayed our plans, Zamasu would say, but I will be able to eliminate her. Zamasu would create a K blade in his hand and would launch himself with everything towards Eos. But Konoha would stand in front of her and hold the ki blade between the palms of his hands. If you're going to help me, try to be attentive to the fight, Konoha would say. Eo pointing upwards, causing a large ball of ki. This would shoot rays towards Zamasu. Zamasu should dodge the attacks, moving from side to side until the ball of ki would be completely consumed. At that moment, Konoha would move forward towards Zamasu, throwing him away with a kick. Then Eos and Konoha would launch themselves together towards Zamasu and would begin to attack him in a coordinated manner. Zamasu was in big trouble since it was difficult for him to fight against two opponents at the same time. Zamasu, don't be clumsy, you shouldn't be in this situation, Babidi would say. If you would just help instead of criticizing, this would be easier, I would say. Idiot Zamasu, I am a magician, not a warrior, Babidi would say. Furious Goku continued to have problems against Broly. Both fought very evenly, at least with the presence of Eos. He could be a little calmer. Damn, if I don't do something, these fools will get away with it, Goku would say. Wait a moment, Goku would say. Realizing something, Goku would distance himself from Broly and go straight to Babidi. No, it can't be, Babidi would say. Terrified, Broly would go ahead of Goku and connect a knee to his stomach. Goku would cough blood without being able to move. Damn it, I don't know, let him get there, Goku would say. Zamasu would knock down Konoha and Eos with an attack. Both of them would fall to the ground but would get up immediately. Both were exhausted from the fight they had. But Sama looked like nothing, he must be immortal. That's why he never gets tired, Corona would say. That makes sense, Eos would say. Now cover me, I think there is something I can do. What would Konoha say? Eo would launch himself towards Zamasu while Konoha would attack him with several Sekui streaks one after another. Zamasu would cross his arms resisting the attacks. Eos would advance towards Zamasu, but at one point he would place himself behind him. Eos would create a wall of K behind Zamasu. What does he do? Zamasu would say. Then Eo would move to each side of Zamasu, creating other walls of two. With one movement he would begin to shrink the walls. Zamasu was trapped in a cube of two that acted as a prison. Don't think they'll be able to stop me with this, Zamasu would say. Of course he would say. Eos would put his hands together, and the cube would begin to shrink. For 46, in a strange way, Zamasu would also do it until he was smaller than the palm of a hand. It's not true, Babidi would say. He didn't know he could do that, Konoha would say. Zamasu would increase his ki, trying to free himself from the ki cube. It would tremble since he managed to resist it. I don't think it would last long, Konoha would say. It's not for always alone, I need a moment, Eos would say. Eos would watch Babidi. The wizard would begin to retreat scared. Hey, don't you dare get closer, Babidi would say. Eos would arrive. Babidi would attack him with the edge of his hand, slicing his head. Despite that, Babidi would still be alive, although Broly and Goku were there at that moment. They were struggling, but Broly would lose the mark of them. I would stop being under the demon of Babidi. Little by little would calm down. What is happening? Would say Broly, confused. Broly, have you regained consciousness? Would say Goku. What happened? Would say Broly. Goku and Broly would approach the situation. Zamasu would stop insisting escape, noticing that everything had gone wrong. Damn, that magician is a fool. Would say Zamasu, don't think that I will let them get away with it. Would say Babidi, furious, there is nothing you can do. Would say Eos, pointing at Babidi. Wait, would say Konoha. Eos with a key attack would completely disappear. Babidi, you didn't have to do. That's what Konoha would say. Of course. Look at all the problems he caused. Eos would say. But we needed that information. Konoha would say. Come on, it's not that bad, Eos would say. Eos is right. Goku would say. We left him alive once, and we almost didn't tell. They used a lot of powerful warriors. So it was the best. Well, seeing it that way. Sighed, I guess they're right. I'd say Konoha, as for you, I think I have something to do. Goku would say, taking Zamasu. Shrunken, wait, what the hell do you want to do? Zamasu would say, terrified. Broly would be taken to his timeline while the rest would go to Senosama's planet. Goku would take Zamasu before the kings of the everything to deliver it. Can't be, I'm lost. Zamasu would say. Zamasu would see the Zenizamasu up close. They looked giant compared to their small size. I remember. I made him disappear with the universe. One of the Zenizamasu would say. I think they have to play. Goku would say, laughing. One of the Zenizamasu would take Zamasu and give it to him. Would throw the other one, so they would be playing with him for several minutes. Well, in the end everything turned out well from what I see. That's Babidi. He was trying to get fighters from all the timelines. He was working alongside Zamasu. I would say Goku. Fortunately, we managed to solve it. Babidi has already been destroyed. What? Well, everything went well. I would say Daishinkan, Miss Eos. I have to thank you for everything, even though I don't have any more responsibilities in the matter. It was very helpful. It's nothing. It was a pleasure to help, Eos would say. Everything would go in order with the timelines intact. Both Enos and Zamasu would continue playing with Zamasu until get bored. Eventually they would end up appearing when he would not entertain them. On the other hand, Goku would arrive at Bill's planet. Vegeta would be wearing the clothes corresponding to a god of destruction. Vegeta, you are already a god and I have surpassed you, I would say Vegeta, so if you want a fight, first train and get stronger. I would tell you to fight, but after what you did with Freezer you dazzled me. I would say Goku, you are incredibly strong. Let's hope that Mr. Vegeta is a good god of destruction. I would say Whis, at least we know that he doesn't sleep that much. Hey, what are you trying to say with that? I would say Bill's annoyed. Nothing, it was just a joke, I would say. Whis, Vegeta, let me congratulate you. Goku would say, now I must go, I have to keep patrolling. Goku would return to his duties. Konoha would continue controlling the timelines. Meanwhile, Eos was at home remembering the adventure he had been through. Heavens, I hope I never have to do something again like that, would say Eos. I got used to having free time. Suddenly a portal would open in front of Eos. There you could see Babidi along with Zamasu. But this time it wasn't the same Zamasu from the first time. It was Zamasu fused with black. What is happening, would say Eos, bewildered. You were supposed to be dead, poor girl. You only killed a part of me, Bavid would say. The only thing I needed was to know who could take over as Kaishin of time in Konoha's absence. Wait a minute, all this was a trap, Eos would say, terrified. Of course it was, and you fell for it very easily, Babini. Zamasu would say, go for it. Zamasu would seriously observe Babidi. No. He seemed to be happy with him. Hey, what's wrong with you? Babidi would say, confused. I told you that no one gives me orders. You would say, love, seriously, even if you are a very powerful magician, you are still a mortal. Whatever, we have a plan, Babidi would say, annoyed, although he also looked really nervous. Eos would rise up, Sukiai, and try to escape, but in an instant, Zamasu would be in front of her. It's not true, Eos would say. Eos would launch a Kia attack at short distance. But after a huge explosion, absolutely nothing would happen to Zamasu. You idiot, think you can fight a supreme god? Zamasu would say. Zamasu would knock down Eos with a simple blow. She would fall heavily, hitting him. Ground, the attack had been devastating, could barely move. Damn, Zamasu would say. Eos, quickly, before we draw more attention. Zamasu would say. Baby would go for Eos, would use his magic to turn it into a small blue gem. Ready, that's it, would say Babidi. Babidi would take the gem and give it to Zamasu. So of this way the power of another living being is used. Zamasu would say. When contemplating the gem, all of its essence is concentrated in that jewel, Bavid would say. Now you can benefit from its power. Zamasu would place the gem on his forehead, it would sink into him. Suddenly, Zamasu's eyes would shine and he would raise his power to a new level. Unimaginable, what was that? Goku would say, confused. How strange. For a moment I felt something bad happen. Zamasu had just absorbed the powers of Eos. It's incredible. The powers of someone who is Kaishin of time are more beneficial than I expected, Zamasu would say, even though she is not the official Kaishin of time. It was at the time, and also by causing Konoha to be out. He took office recently, that maintained the essence of his position, Babidi would say. Now that I have this new power, nothing will be able to stop me. Zamasu would finish saying, very excited. What could happen now that Zamasu became strong thanks to? Zamasu will try to conquer all the timelines and Goku and our friends will also be able to have Zamasu and Babidi's plans. We will know all of that in the next part of this theory. Thank you for watching the fourth part of this theory about Goku, the guardian of time and space. Remember to leave your like. A new Zamasu was born from the fusion of two Zamasu, one immortal, the other with Goku's body and now with the power of a Kaishin of time inside him. Babidi Zamasu's plans were going as planned. Those fools think they killed me and only eliminated a copy of me, Babidi would say. It's time to show them who's in charge. First things first, Zamasu would begin to raise his ki. A strange aura would sprout from his body. All the timelines would begin to be affected. Each of the angels would feel the distortion in time. The kings of all were on their planet. Zeno-sama of the future would begin to look transparent. Hey, what's wrong with you? I would say, Zeno-sama of the present, help me, they're banning me. I would say, Zeno-sama of the future, when it finishes disappearing it can't be. I would say, Seo's Ame of the present, very sad, this must be the result of some distortion in space-time. I would say, Daishinkan, that's why the other Zeno-sama disappeared. He must have returned to his time. Goku would notice something strange in the timelines and would go to the time palace as soon as possible. Upon arrival, he would see everything in ruins. I don't understand what's happening, Goku would say. Goku would call Konoha, but she looked very weak. Konoha would say, bewildered. Goku, something happened to him. Time would say, Konoha, I felt something but I don't understand. It would say, Goku. Daishin would arrive at the time palace. It seems that something disconnected the timelines. Would say, Daishin, how is that possible? Would say Konoha. Supreme Priest, what do you mean by that? Would say Goku. Someone or something managed to cut any link between the timelines. Would say Daishinkan, that causes that you cannot travel between them by any method. In addition, everything that was outside of its timeline returned to its moment. What happened to Zeno-sama from the future? Konoha returned to his future eventually. Would say Daishinkan, it cannot be Tron, and would say Goku, terrified. They must have returned to that future, they must be floating in the middle of space, Konoha would say. At this point they must have died in nothingness. But how could this be possible? Goku would say. Konoha would take a crystal ball and try to observe the other timelines. But it would be impossible. Damn, there is a lot of interference, Konoha would say. The time palace would immediately start to shake, it would fall to pieces. It can't be the time palace, Konoha would say. Our friends would get out of there. The time palace would end up collapsing completely. I don't understand it, I would say. Chrono off, this is worse than I thought. Daishinkan would say. No connection in the timelines. The palace loses coherence by itself. Daishinkan would observe his hands. He would notice how they would begin to evaporate. Supreme Priest would say, Goku. Goku would go through the same thing. We are evaporating. Goku would say, the disconnection between the timelines are doing their job. Only the mother timeline, it will exist. Would say Daishin-kan, I feel fine. Would say Konoha, it's logical, you are outside the timelines. Would say Daishin-kan, even though you are like the time palace, your power of Kaishin of time keeps you stable. Daishinkan would start to look more apparent, although the effect on Goku was slower. This depends on you too. Daishin would say, when Daishin disappears completely, Goku would say. Sad, take it. Chrono would say, when he takes out an earring, put it in the same ear as me. Goku would put the earring on and stop disintegrating. If the event saved me, he would say. Goku, now we will have to look for the reason for all this, Konoha would say. Konoha would close her eyes and begin to meditate. It would be very difficult for her to see the other timelines. Suddenly they would be in the middle of nowhere. Everything had disappeared. It can't be, Goku would say. The timeline we are in has disappeared, Konoha would say. Only the mother timeline remains. Goku and Konoha would manage to reach the mother timeline where Universe 7 no longer existed and the gods of destruction and Kaioshins had died by the work of that Zamasu that our friends faced. Even so, this version of Zamasu remained as the most powerful of all. Now that there is only one timeline, nothing can stop you, Bab would say. It's true. All that remains is to make all the mortals disappear and start from scratch, Zamasu would say. Goku and Konoha would arrive at the place where Zamasu and Babidi were. Goku, you are supposed to have disappeared, Zamasu would say. Zamasu would notice the tendril in Goku. I see, I'll have to take it from you, Zamasu would say. What did you do? Goku would say. Eos would say, Chrono terrified as she watched Zamasu closely. What do you mean? Goku would say, Zamasu has the K of Eos inside him. Konoha would say. What would Goku say, bewildered? Zamasu absorbed Eos. That way he gained control over them. So you can see that they did what we wanted. Konoha burned all my books and didn't realize that we left others with the cure. They were the ones that was used to save her. Bab would say, they really are fools. Even the angels fell. Goku looked really furious. Sasuke would start to lose control. They are some bastards, Goku would say, bewildered. Goku would transform into Super Sasuke Blue, expelling his ki to the maximum. He would launch himself with everything towards Zamasu. He would arrive with a punch, but as he did so, Sama would hold the attack as if nothing had happened. 617, it's possible, Goku would say. The difference in power between you and me is too much, Zamasu would say. With a ki attack he would throw Goku far away. He would be really hurt. Goku could barely move. His uniform was really destroyed. It can't be that he did this much damage to me with just one attack, Goku would say. Goku, I would call Konoha. As you can see, I have the supreme power. Nothing and no one can defeat me, I would say. Zamasu, not even Sano-sama can do it because he already tried and his technique didn't work on me. I don't care what you say, I won't give up, I would say. Goku would expel all his power without caring about anything. He would launch himself again with everything towards Zamasu, would reach him with a shower of blows from fists. Sama would endure each of the attacks as if nothing had happened. I can't believe it, Goku would say. I told you, but your mortal mind doesn't have the capacity to understand it, Zamasu would say. Zamasu would grab Goku by the neck and squeeze him tightly without letting him breathe. Goku would do everything possible to try to free himself, but it would be impossible. It can't be Zamasu. He's incredibly strong, Konoha would say. Goku would lose his transformation. It's over, Zamasu would say. Zamasu would take the tendril from Goku and throw him far away. Goku would hit the ground and begin to evaporate again. This is the end, he would say. Goku, we won, would say Babidi. Goku, are you okay, would say Chrono. Going for him, I failed you, would say Goku. No you didn't and you won't, would say Konoha. Chrono would place his hand on Goku's face and drop a tear on him. Oh, what a tender moment, would say Babili. This is so pathetic, would say Zamasu, creating a ball from here to attack them both. Konoha's body would begin to shine, turning into light. Then that energy would merge into Goku, regenerating each of his wounds. Goku would say this without understanding it. Zamasu would launch his attack when he saw that something was happening. Goku would dodge it instantly. It is not possible, he would say. Babidi. Goku would appear behind them. You could notice him with a special energy that surrounded him. Something in him was totally different. Damn, Konoha is part of you. You would say you love me. I feel that she is inside my heart, Goku would say, and I will not let her sacrifice be in vain. Goku would begin to raise his power to great levels. In an instant Zamasu would arrive with a strong punch to his stomach that would leave him hunched over. It's not true, Babidi would say. Then Goku would point at Babidi with a simple K-beam that would completely disintegrate him. Now we are alone, you and I, would say Goku. Zamasu with a punch would throw Goku far away. This would take distance. Disgusting worm, no matter how many tricks you use, I am a god and you will always be immortal, would say. Zamasu would begin to raise his Kia to a great level, but Goku would not be far behind. Goku would close his eyes and breathe deeply. As he concentrated, his energy would manifest with more intensity until his hair would turn white. Wretch, Zamasu would say through gritted teeth. In an instant, Goku was in front of Zamasu. Both would throw a punch, colliding their blows with each other. At first glance, they seemed to be at the same level. Damn worm, I'll finish you off, Zamasu would say. Goku and Zamasu would begin to exchange blows at great speed. While they moved everywhere. In a moment both would take distance from each other while they studied each other. Zamasu, I will defeat you and free Eos so that all the timelines return to normal. Goku would say, idiot, the timelines disappeared, there is nothing you can do. You would say, you love me, don't you love me? Your words matter, I will do what I have to do even if it sounds impossible. Goku would say. Goku would launch himself with everything towards Zamasu. He would arrive with a kick to his chest. Sama would be thrown several meters away, then Goku would catch up to him from behind to attack him, but before he could do anything Sama would turn around and attack him. Would attack with a ball of ki. Goku would cross his arms, resisting the attack and managing to reject it. No matter how much borrowed power you have, you will never be able to beat me. Zamasu would say, how dare you say that? You are using my body and the essence of Eos. Goku would say, shut your mouth. Zamasu would say, out of his mind. Zamasu would throw a big attack from Kia towards Goku. He dodged it sideways and Zamasu would arrive with a kick under his chin. Sama would move away a few meters back but would launch himself at Goku again with a blow to his chest. Goku would cough blood, although he would respond with a blow to his face, then Zamasu would throw a punch. But Goku ducks just in time, responding with a punch to his stomach. At the moment Zamasu loses his guard, Goku would attack him with a K ball at short range, throwing him far away. I will take away Eos from you so you lose control over time. I would say, Goku, I no longer have control over it. Time, there is only one timeline. Zamasu would say, better shut your mouth. Goku would say. Goku would bring his hands back, preparing a big Kamehameha. Zamasu would do something similar, preparing a power technique of the same volume. Both would execute their attacks on each other. I will make you disappear. Zamasu would say, that's not going happen. Goku would say, out of his mind. Both would give it their all in that attack. Since they're the fate of all realities would be decided. What will happen now that Goku and Zamasu fight to the death? Maybe Goku will be able to save Eos and re-establish the timelines, and even more important, what will become of the timelines that disappeared? All that we will know in the next part of this theory. Thank you for watching the 5th part of this theory of Goku to the Guardian of Time and Space. Remember to leave your like, comment, and subscribe if you want to see the next part of this theory. The video has to reach 70 likes, and I will upload it as quickly as I can see you.